And hello, everybody. It's another episode of the Uncanny Spirits Club, and I have the third of my half of the Pick Six beers that I got not long ago. Well, as of me recording, as of the broadcast here, it's probably been quite a while because this will be sometime in the far future. But we time travel, as you folks know. So this is the third from that pack. It's my final one. I'll have to go get some more. And this is another one from Market Garden Brewery from here in Cleveland, Ohio. And this is their Beastie American Stout. Now, I'm going to look up real quick. I'm going to pull up my videos of which one I had before from them because I'm interested now. I have a separate playlist for just the beers on my YouTube if you'd like to go see that. If you're not into hard liquors, you're just into beers, I have a separate playlist just for you. This was episode 76, the Market Garden Prosperity Wheat. And I believe I remember saying that that's the one that made me think of pretzels. Because a lot of times there's certain beers that when you get them at the bar, you have to have snacks with them. It's just like a snack beer. That's how it goes. You have something salty. You have some kind of snackable thing to go with them. And that was a very much pretzely pairing beer. So this one's a little bit different. This one is called the Beastie, of course. It's an American stout. It is 7.2% alcohol by volume. That's the 12 fluid ounces. 7.2% alcohol by volume. So not too terrible. Anything above 5 is a pretty decent buzz as far as a beer goes. Um, so yeah, good stuff. Um, it says bold, smooth, and full-bodied. This overachiever of a stout. Now you're making me happy. Um, Puts our brew house to the test with several unique caramel, chocolate, and roasted malts. Its great depth and rich flavors are brought into balance with kettle additions of the classic Cascade hop. Keep it beastie, it says. Um, I like stouts already, so being an American stout, I'm interested. And those are some nice flavor profiles. Let's see if it is accurate towards any of that. Because sometimes they make up all these words and things, you have no idea, and you taste it, it's like, not really. IPAs are very much guilty of that kind of thing. No IPA ever tastes like what it says so on the can, at least not for me. It smells nice. It smells nice and stouty. Let's see if I can get a good Guinness style pour here. Got to get the 45-degree angle and then turn it as you're going up to the top. Yeah, there we go. Nice little bit of foam there. Not too much, not too little, not too out of control. On the camera, it looks absolutely black. Here in person, it's a bit browner, but it is very dark. I cannot see through it when I hold it up to the lamp.
Even the foam is dark.
So it's nice and dark. That's very stout, and that pleases me. I'm always a stout and porter fan, and yeah, I'm looking forward to having some of that right there. So I'm gonna let it settle for just a minute because a good stout you gotta let it kind of settle. Guinness rules, of course. And yeah, I liked the Market Garden Prosperity Wheat, and I actually had people who asked me about it, like, "Hey, I want to get some of that." I'm like, "Well, it's local to your grocery stores." So I inspired some people to go out and have it themselves with that one. So a good thing to do is if in your local area, I'm in Ohio, of course, check out to see if you have any local craft breweries in your area, and if they put things in your local grocery store. And if they do, go ahead and give them some support. I mean, they might not all make things that you like. A lot of times, craft breweries make IPAs, and don't like them. But you do have a few, especially around here. Cleveland has several. Columbus has some. Just up north of here, and I mentioned it in the last video, I believe, is our very own Missing Falls Brewery in Akron, Ohio, which makes some pretty good stuff also. And they serve food. So if you're hungry, you can get some beer and you can get a snack or a full meal or whatever. So That should be nice and settled. We're going to give the Beastie a try. It is a very decent stout. It starts off just being, okay, that's a beer. And it as it sits there, as it filters down into the palate, you're slowly getting a ton of dark chocolate. Not very sweet either. It's like bitter dark chocolate, which is kind of how I like it. I don't make a habit of going around and eating like baker's chocolate because that's basically what that would be. But if it's in a beer, I like the sensation of the chocolate a little bit more than I do the actual sweet taste of chocolate. It's the sensation kind of that it gives you more than the actual flavor profile, and that's pretty nice. It is not a sweet beer, and now it's actually getting into a burnt kind of coffee bean sort of area as it's continuing to settle. Although I suppose you could call them burnt cacao beans rather than coffee beans, and it would probably still work out to about the same sort of flavor profile because they haven't been treated with the sugars and the various other things. Let's take another one to see how the palate reacts to a second dose. Yeah, it starts off that first taste, you're kind of unsure about it. You're like, it just tastes like a strong beer. And as it settles, it brings that bitter chocolate sensation that continues to kind of filter through the longer it sits there. I like it. It's not one of my favorite things ever because there is a lot of beer taste to it, which you'll get with some stouts, but sometimes you want a stout to have a lot of body to it. You want it to have a lot of like flavor and things, not necessarily like artificial things and things thrown in. If you have a Guinness, you're not going to get a flavored alcohol generally, unless you get one of their holiday things. Like they've got a couple of different holiday things that have been brewed with different things. Like they had a mint chocolate Guinness. I tried that last year. And then they had the old fashioned inspired Guinness. I really liked it, but it took me forever. I had to look everywhere to find both of them, honestly. Neither one of them was in my local store. I had to go slightly farther afield to, where did I have to go? I went to a new store that they had just built.
Oh, Rogers.
And I went there and I was able to find them just once. But the store was a mess. Like, I mean, it was clean because it was new. But when I say it was a mess, it was like were things everywhere. It was like, look at all the things you can buy here, here, and here, and here, and it was too much. It was just a jumble of everything, and it took me forever to find what I was looking for because they'd said they had it on their website. And so I went in thinking, okay, I'll take a look. And they didn't have a designated liquor area. They just had stuff. They had some wines and some beers and things and cocktail stuff set in a particular spot, just kind of in the middle of a random everything else. So I didn't go back. I've not gone back because it's not my preferred store setup. I like more familiar, like I can find things that are not, let's try to be Walmart, because that's what Walmart does for me. It's like stuff everywhere, random things here. Oh, you're looking for this. You may also want this and this and this that are not related at all, but they might get your interest. And I get why they do it. Because if you're browsing, you might be like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. None of these are what I was here for, but they all look great. Just randomly in my way. And I don't like that. I hate it. Makes me grouchy. As many things do. So, but getting back to my point, it has a very strong beer taste at first that may put you off, but if you let it follow through, you get that bitter chocolate taste, which may not be pleasant for some folks who like their chocolate to definitely have sweetness to it, to definitely be a chocolatey taste, but I like it. This would be one of those that I probably wouldn't have more than one in a sitting, though, just because the flavor is very strong. And being a stout, it is a very heavy beer as well. I can have a couple of Guinness usually before I'm kind of like, all right, that's enough. I've had two. I'll put them down. This, I would only want to have the one. This will fill me up, I think, and yeah, pretty good, but something that I would go through slowly, which is not a problem. You don't always want to get a pack of beer that you're going to go through all in a night, right? You don't want to be pounding sixers all the time. I mean, maybe some people do. And if you do, then that's cool. Just stay home when you do that. Don't go out and about. Drink your sixers at home or your 12s or whatever, right? Safety first. But yeah, I would want to have one, and then I think I'd be set for the evening. This would probably be pretty good followed up with a good American whiskey or a scotch of some kind. I have some bourbon and I have some Irish whiskey right now, which may still be all right to follow up with because that's what I'm going to do with my evening. I usually do anyway. But I think a good, like, if I had a bottle of the Cedar Ridge Quintessential, which is their American whiskey that isn't specifically a bourbon, it's labeled as an American whiskey, I think this would go very well before or after that. Or a good unpeated Scotch, I think, would be really good with this, like maybe a Glenmorangie or something of that nature. I don't think I'd want to pair the strength of this with something that's peated like a Lagavulin. I think that'd be a bit much for my palate, and I'd overload things, and I'd just end up feeling disgusted with myself. But yeah, it's hefty stuff. It is definitely very, very stout. I'm going to have one more before I let you go. And it's deceptive in how you take that first drink and you're kind of thinking, oh, that's nothing special. And now all that chocolate feeling just kind of like, filters all in at the back of the mouth before it gets down to the throat. Right at the back of the tongue. All those taste buds in the back end of your tongue are picking up all those things. So now, again, I don't have an individual price for this because it was part of the pick six at my local grocery store. But it's going to be in the neighborhood of $9.99 to $13.99, give or take, because usually that's where these sit at. The pack itself is usually $10 or $11.99 for 6 random beers. So I would imagine somewhere in that area is what you're going to spend for a 6-pack of this. The cat doesn't seem to care too much for that, but he's not going to drink any anyway. So that's that. That's all I got for you. And I will see you folks next time. As always, of course, cheers.